From the Opubco Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. Time for 5 and 5. 5 topics, about a minute each for 5 minutes. Barry, let's get right to it with a question about Derek Fisher. Derek Fisher's return is a sign of what?
Scotty Brooks' trust. Scotty Brooks seems to need a security blanket, and he's settled on Derek Fisher 2 years in a row. Now, I like Derek Fisher. He's great to talk to. He's fun to have around. I'm not crazy about the ball player he is anymore. I mean, he's got 38-year-old legs, and he's got a shot that seems to not be on all the time. He's a backup point guard who's not really a point guard, but Scotty Brooks and Kevin Durant to some degree too seem to have a lot of trust in Derek Fisher. I hope Derek Fisher doesn't get a ton of minutes, but I think Scotty Brooks likes him a lot.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he is a sign of insurance for this team. You know, obviously when you trade away Eric Maynor, he wasn't getting a lot of playing time, but every team in the NBA for the most part has 3-point guards. It's almost a foregone conclusion that you just have to have 3. So I get signing him, but if he starts taking a ton of minutes from Thabo Sefolosha, from Reggie Jackson, from Nick Collison, guys that looked like they were the ones that took the brunt of his minutes last year, I don't think that's such a good idea. And I like Reggie Jackson a lot more than I did a year ago too, Barry. You did some numbers comparison on your blog and maybe didn't bear out as much, but he just looks more confident.
He does look better. He does look like somebody you can trust.
Yeah, and you know what? He's going to have to get playoff experience eventually. Might as well get it now. All right, let's do a little higher lower, Barry. Higher or lower? OSU will be a number 5 seed in the NCAA Tournament.
If I have to pick one, I'm going to go higher. I think there's a good chance Cowboys will be a 5, but I think they got a good shot at a 4 seed. They're playing well. I think they'll finish strong. If they can win at Ames on next week, of course they got Texas Saturday in Stillwater, but win at Ames next week, definitely I think they'll be higher than a 5. So they got a good shot. I like the way this Cowboy team's playing.
I think they're trending to higher as well. I don't think they're falling below a 5 seed. And, I think that Iowa State game looms large after a really fantastic game the first time. But I like the way Oklahoma State's playing. And you know what? I think they've got some toughness about them. Travis Ford has talked about that, both physically and mentally have some toughness. And, I think that'll bode well come Big 12 tournament time when you're playing a bunch of games in a row. And it's sort of really a tough situation for you to get up for each game each day. I think they'll do well in that situation, and I think all that said, I think that means that they're going to trend pretty high. I like them as a 4. I think that's probably where they end up.
By the way, nice pinstripe day at the old office.
That's right. All right, another higher lower, Barry. OU will be a number 8 seed in the NCAA tournament.
I think they're going to be lower. I think that loss Wednesday night, disastrous loss at Texas, below a 22-point lead with 7.5 minutes left. I think that'll cost the Sooners. I think they'll be down in the 9 or 10 range now. They had a chance to win out in the regular season, going about a 6-game winning streak. But the Sooners, they have no bad losses, and even that loss probably outside of the margin that they led by, it's not a bad loss on the resume. But they don't have a ton of great wins. I think 2 wins against top 60 teams, OSU and Kansas. So I think OU could have really helped itself. Instead, it hurt itself. I think Sooners be down in the 9-10 range.
Yeah, if they win out, I think that they are maybe trending more towards a 7 seed because, the NCAA selection committee looks at last 10. They look at hot teams. They look at teams playing well, and OU would have been right there. But, everybody's going to have earmarked that loss to Texas. I think that's a bad one. And it could cost you coming up. That's a tough one to overcome when you're up by 22. So the Sooners have to make sure that they don't let one bad loss become more bad losses. They need to get back on the winning track. If they do, I think they maybe stay in 8, but right now, definitely trending towards the lower side of that one. All right, our fun question of the week, Barry. Hey, what's your favorite thing about the small school state tournaments? They kick off this weekend in Oklahoma City. What's your favorite?
Well, at the risk of some people saying I'm making fun of people, and maybe you even calling me a sexist, I'm not trying to be that way, but my favorite thing about it is how everybody looks different than the normal basketball you game to. The players aren't always sleek. The cheerleaders aren't all Barbie dolls. The coaches don't look like they walked off a GQ magazine. Everybody sort of just is who they are, and they've got good basketball and have had success, and they're celebrating their teams and their towns. I think it's great. I think it's a slice of Americana. It's not any kind of fashion show. It's not any kind of party where everybody's putting on airs. I just think it's a good down-home place.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know what? My favorite things are some things that happen before the games even start. They turn on these floodlights at State Fair Arena, and everybody oohs and ahs every time. It doesn't matter if they've been there before, if they've seen it before. They ooh and ah every time with these big lights coming on. That happens somewhere in the half hour before tip or so range. I love that. And then when they clear out the fans from the game before, and then the next group of fans who are waiting on the side, they're held back by the police, actually. They sort of have them behind a barricade. They let the barricade down, and here they come, and they run into their seats. I love that stuff. It's just a great part of the state fair and the small school state tournament. All right, Barry, lastly, let's go true false on this one. Danica Patrick is great for NASCAR.
Oh, that's true. In fact, I would argue that Danica Patrick is the only thing going for NASCAR right now. I watched the last 100 miles or so of that race Sunday only because I wanted to see how Danica would do. The race certainly wasn't interesting. Nothing going on. Nobody passes anybody. Everybody just waits for the caution or a pit stop. So this is a sport everybody was all fired up about. Everybody's crazy about 10 years ago, but all of America started watching and said, there's nothing going on. Danica Patrick has something going on. That's good for NASCAR.
You know what's good about her? She drives a car that you can see.
That's right.
You can pick it out in the field no matter where she is. She drives that green car. I don't know how crazy I am about GoDaddy and their whole advertising scheme. It kind of freaked me out during the Super Bowl, their ad that they had. But her car stands out. She stands out. And I think she's going to get people to watch. I think we saw the numbers go up for the Daytona race. The viewership numbers were up. I think that was a direct result of her. Now we're going to see if it's going to carry over. Are people going to watch this week? They're in Phoenix. Are people going to watch the Phoenix race? Are they going to watch as they go to Las Vegas? Those sorts of things. We'll see. But I think she's got people buzzing about NASCAR again. True, she is great for NASCAR. And be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.